breathe in the slow. Breath held tight, the storm starts to grow. We sharpen the truth, ready to explode. Can't call out rhinos if you're a rhino. Speak with a mic that bleeds, not a path to tone. Oh, cash dress saints blink while the crowd loses sane. Oh, spin raw pages, every line a broken homo. Can't be bought, can't be sold. Gave my soul to truth, not gold. We raise the flags while the fake keeps cold.
What's going on, people? Welcome to another Can't Be Bought podcast. We got a lot to cover. Before I get into all that, though, and welcome my co-host, Native Patriot Maurice. What's up, bud?
Man, it is going well. I'm glad that I could finally be back and be on the podcast again. I've been slaving away lately, away.
Yeah, I know you've been filling that void, and I've been traveling and doing whatever. Got my road studio set up. But guys, tonight you're going to join us and welcome in Lance Schuttner. He's the founder and CEO of Ascent Nutrition, health journalist, passionate advocate for natural wellness. And through his work, Lance provides premium, organic, and wild harvested nutrients while challenging the conventional systems and empowering people to reclaim their health. So let's welcome Lance Schuttner to the show. What's up, Lance? How are you, bud?
Hey, Eddie. I'm great. Thanks for having me. Hey, Maurice.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Good. Lance and I had
well now.
hell of a pre-conversation the last time he was on here a few weeks back. Might touch on some of that for the night's over now that Maurice is here. Get a little crazy.
Well, one thing you got to understand when you start a company that goes against the grain as far as nutrition goes, which is like the base of all human interaction, you know, the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you're, how motivated you are throughout the day. When you start making people feel better like that, you're creating, you're creating a ton of independent thinkers once you start that. So, how has that been for you, as you know, starting from the ground up, or you know, how did you get your start in that field?
Great question, Maurice. Last time when Eddie and I got into this, I held this book up, and this is really the beginning of everything, inventing the AIDS virus. So, Eddie, you remember me sharing this, that I was in a community college class.
Goodbye, YouTube guys. Goodbye. I know. I'm teasing, brother.
Are you guys on YouTube?
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Okay. My bad.
No, you're fine. You said it's the name of a book. You're good, man.
Yeah, I'll cover for that next
no
time.
worries.
But that was the red pill, and that kind of got me into things. But I started waking up to this whole agenda in 2011. Really, I read that book in 2010. Our professor was red pilling us.
Would you really consider that a red pill, though, or is that really a black pill?
Say it again.
Would you really consider that a red pill or a black pill?
For me at the time, it was a red pill, because it opened me up to start waking up to.
Okay, so you're referring to the Matrix, not the political agenda.
Correct. Okay. Yep. Okay. So that, that kind of opened the door for things, and I started seeing that, okay, everything's a lie, everything's based on a lie. And so then, in 2014, kind of after I started really diving deep into this stuff, I started writing articles trying to expose this stuff and publishing for lots of, alternative media sites, and just trying to get the word out there. And did a little bit of work with Robert David Steele. We talked about that last time too,
Mm-hmm.
Eddie. I'm just kind of going over some of the highlights of it. Robert David Steele was awesome. Everyone knows him. Like most people who are awake now or have seen his videos, at least, he was, nuking out truth and waking up a lot of people on everything. I was able to help kind of work behind the scenes with him, teeing up video content, kind of helping him around the censorship of YouTube. Ironically, still we're dealing with that crap. Crazy that we're even having to like think about that still in 26.
Yeah, it's funny though. They selectively apply that stuff, right? Because you hear, I watch Redacted a lot, and God bless Natalie and Clayton. I love them, but they get away with a lot of stuff that other people can't. Sean Ryan does too. There are a multitude of people that they just selectively apply those terms and conditions to, like us.
Well, it's a step
Yep.
in the right direction. That they, but they have a hard time enforcing it on established, like podcasts on their platform, on really high profile people. But like we're mostly on X for the, and so all the other platforms with YouTube and Twitch and Rumble and Facebook and all those other platforms, like we fairly recently just started streaming to all of them apart from Rumble. But yeah, it's almost impossible to break through the YouTube algorithm with the way that they have it set up now, even if we're established on X. It's
Yeah, I mean, they essentially want you to go live on YouTube, from YouTube, through YouTube. And it's the same with Rumble. They want you to be on Rumble, through Rumble, that sort of thing, right? Everybody wants you proprietarily on their platform before they'll actually push you out. But, I mean, we break through sometimes. It depends on the show and on the topic. And we're going to dig a little deeper today with you on some things that I don't think that we were able to get to. I mean, we were all over the place last time. It was a great conversation.
Yeah.
But I think
awesome.
Maurice nailed it. He hit it on the head. You for anyone to start any venture, period, just to wake up one day and say, I'm not doing the 9-to-5 thing, or even if I'm doing this 9-to-5, I'm going to take all this other energy and time that I have because I believe in XYZ so much. And that moment came for you when you read this book. What exactly was in there that said, that aha moment where you thought, I don't have any options. I got to do this, right? Because that's what it is for most people.
Yeah. I mean, they're grilling Fauci in that book, and they're naming him up and down in that book, and that was published in 95. So, I didn't know who he was at that time, obviously, but in 2010 when I read it, but everything's come full circle. RFK Jr.'s books that he's, put out in the past 2, 3, 4 years is referencing that book endlessly in his books and, some of the science in there. And so I think it was just a culmination of reading it and what we were learning that week in school. From the professor as he was kind of guiding us down the path to start asking questions. It just started clicking for me that, okay, how does this book get published? It's a 500-page book, all these references in here. Like, this scientist isn't just making this stuff up. And if he's not making it up and it's backed by actually real good science, then, man, I've been lied to, and we've been lied to about everything. And so for me, it was like, oh, wow, like, all this health stuff that I've been learning is all a lie. Like, if they're covering for this, then they're lying about everything else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And they are. And imagine that, right? And you can take that across the entire spectrum of our news, the medical industry, controlling it through whatever media you consume, music, movies, TV, and all of it has been co-opted in order to push us into the matrix, right? And when you start to wake up from that matrix, what did you notice first when you stepped outside of it and you're looking inward at it? I mean, for me, it's frustrating, right? It's very frustrating, especially when you're around people who constantly reference it like it's reality. And their identity is tied so closely to it that the moment you tell them, hey, that whole thing you believe, that whole thing that you just said, that's all a lie. They're not just going to take that kindly, right? You're attacking their identity in some cases, and it can get pretty wild. I don't know how to broach those conversations, although I do it all the time.
Yeah. Like all my friends, no one was awake. I was 20 at the time, and so we were all basically interested in sports, a little bit of school, college, women, partying, whatnot, all of that stuff. I was like
So
kind
he
of
established that he's straight, Maurice, just so you and everybody out there watching, he's
100% only into women.
I figured you threw that in there for a reason. I figured I'd help you out.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't intentionally do that, but thank you. That's great. But just like, you're 20 years old and you're not really, so like most people at that age are not into politics. They're not into really what's going on in the world, especially back then. These days it's changed for sure, and thankfully so. But more people are waking up, I would say. But everyone was asleep that I was around. Although my brother, and I shared this last time, I believe, Eddie, he was the only one who actually believed what I was saying. So we've been on the same page with everything really our whole life. And he believed me from day one. He knows about all this stuff too. He's fully awake to all this stuff as well, as this time has gone on. But it was definitely difficult. We would both talk about how, like, man, none of our friends even care about this, and they are definitely not going to believe any of this stuff. So, we all go through it when we do step out and start speaking truth and going against the grain and saying, all these uncomfortable things. It's part of it, but yeah, I mean, it's challenging, but it's worth it because now we're here. We do still have a lot more work to do, including holding people freaking accountable and arresting people and putting people in prison. We're all on the same page with that. Yeah, like we've waited long enough. We've seen all the lies. At least one good thing today is, for the first time ever, this is very interesting, that the first time ever an active duty CIA officer blew the whistle today against the CIA and against Fauci for covering up, the C word stuff.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can say it. That's, I mean, you're reporting an absolute fact. I'm gonna actually let's show it. How about everybody want to see it? This is pretty big time right here.
Yes.
You don't. I had made a video immediately as soon as it touched the news. So here it is.
Good morning, Chairman Paul and other members of the Oversight Committee. Thank you for the complimentary introduction. I appreciate.
Well, this is playing horribly, at least on my end. I can't even hear it, Eddie.
Did you hear it?
No.
Yeah, I can't hear it either.
Hold on a second. I think it was because I had it playing through my computer speakers before. Let me unshare it and then reshare it, and it should pick it up. Here it is.
I was responsible for leading the DIGS investigation into COVID origins, anomalous health incidents, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm here today to discuss the COVID cover-up, national security implications associated with the DIGS investigative findings, and CIA refusal to comply with lawful oversight, as well as how we remedy these problems. Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the DIGS review. Intentional or not, these actions resulted in cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China is going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA product being mandated by the former administration.
The next part is where it gets
do
interesting.
Do you think? Can you pause this for a sec?
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci's.
Do you honestly believe that the American public would have handled it differently if the official source said it was made in a lab, or do you think that would have given them more time or like more like credibility with the virus? Because
True.
I mean, it kind of seems like if they had just come out and said, hey, you know, yeah, whoopsie, this accidentally slipped from, it's a man-made creation, so we definitely have to lock down because it's been hyped up, you know, to create a vaccine, but it slipped out, so now it's, you know, going to infect everybody. I almost feel like that, I mean, if what he's saying, you know, that the American public would have been better off knowing this, you know, it almost seems like it would have been, it could have backfired tremendously, but maybe I should just
and you're exactly right. I think you're exactly right, because if they would have known it was man-made, and what we know now, factually, what we know is that they took the SARS and the COVID virus and they put them together, and we know that it was made in a lab because the scientists identified the ingredient that essentially would be, in layman's terms, the glue that held the two together that didn't occur in nature. So they can look at it and tell. And then what did and on top of that, RFK came out and said the virus for some reason targeted demographics disproportionately. Certain races of people got hit harder than others by the effects of this virus. And the two that didn't, anybody want to venture a guess of what he said?
Go ahead, Eddie.
The Chinese population and the Jews.
The Ashkenazi.
The Ashkenazi Jews. That's very telling, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional.
Ooh, that's
Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process and findings by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20 plus years. Some of the scientists were part of the Biological Sciences Experts Group, or the BSEG, an office of Director National Intelligence Advisory Body, whose members often receive considerable funding from NIAID and public health agencies. The BSEG scientists influenced national laboratory WMD research, policy decisions, finished analysis, and other intelligence matters, creating misaligned incentives and conflicts of interest, as well as counterintelligence issues.
Damn, how big are his notes?
Since 2006,
that was like one sentence.
He's like 3 sentences and he flips the page.
For the IC, while conducting government-funded research and holding academia positions, as well as maintaining roles in public health institutions and serving as members in the National Academy of Science. They received funding from NIAID and other agencies for vaccine research, USAID's PREDICT project, the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, and even worked with Chinese scientists on coronavirus and other pathogen studies pursuing vaccines.
Now, the part that he really, after he says that, it hit me because I've studied this from day one and I'm paying attention, is what year? And that last statement when he talks about the vaccines right there is, and this is something that I credit, what's his face, Glenn Beck for, because Glenn Beck was the one who read the paper out loud first, is the actual year that they started working on the vaccine, which was prior to the year of the pandemic, and then listed it as intellectual property. Man, this gets it gets pretty deep. It gets pretty deep. I don't know how much I can say on YouTube, but you guys know, and I think
Yes.
most of the people watching this know. It's, and I think that leaves me kind of, you know, if I know, and you guys know, and people watching know, that means the president knows. That means Congress knows, Senate knows, multiple doctors and institutions across this country know, but the media doesn't relay this information. You're not going to hear it on faux news. You're not going to hear it on the Communist News Network or CBS. You're not going to hear it on any of it. And it's really sad. And it's telling too.
Yeah, they've been complicit in these crimes against humanity 100% and covering up for them. And all of them need to be held accountable too.
Yeah, and you brought up that book when Fauci did this back in the '90s with AIDS. You know, when they were experimenting on orphan children and things of that nature. I mean, Fauci's been doing this for decades, and it's like this isn't necessarily like new revelations. It's just like the next iteration of what he's been doing with our tax dollars for the last 40 years.
I got a question for you though, Lance, because I don't know what's in your book, but since it deals with this particular topic, and something I want to know. I remember in the offset of I'm 50, so I remember it very well, very vividly when it all happened, and I had an uncle who passed away from it. So, you know, as an IV drug user and that sort of thing, and contracted it early on before they had all these drugs and things like that. It essentially, you end up with like Magic Johnson, living your whole life perfectly healthy and that sort of thing. But you know, they in the offset of this, they were blaming it on, if you remember, it was like bathhouses and then hemophiliacs and the blood banks getting tainted and that sort of thing. Do they say anything in that book about any of these things or how it got introduced? Does it differ from the official story?
They're more. They did talk about that stuff, but it was more from the angle of how the term AIDS is made up. That HIV is real, but AIDS is made up, and so you can pass, you know, the HIV, but is basically how they were shifting language and making up what we call AIDS.
What was it? Efficiency? What does it stand for? I forget what it's. Deficiency syndrome. I remember immune deficiency syndrome.
Acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And so acquiring it, and that's what they were talking about, like Fauci and them, the mainstream versions of everything. But they were saying how people aren't dying from AIDS, they're dying from like pneumonia and the flu, and how toxic these drugs were that they were given. And that was the other part of it for me. That was kind of a big wake-up call in there, was that they knew how terrible and toxic and what these drugs were doing. They were witnessing it to humans, and yet they still proceeded with it. And I mean, of course we know why, because they're Satanists and they literally get off on causing pain, and they want us to suffer. You know, they're very open about that. We all know that. But it was just, you know, at the time when you're not awake and you see that, it's sickening just to begin with. And then you're like, wow, like how could you actually continue with that drug knowing that it was doing the opposite of what you're talking about? So, you know, that's what the satanic control system has done. And Fauci's part of that. A bunch of his friends are, and, you know, retribution time is what I believe we need right now.
You think we'll get it?
Yes, I do. I'm also waiting. We're all waiting. I think it's coming. I think God wins in the end, and that something that I've been praying on more recently is, okay, God, you can supersede and intervene. on what these humans, what us humans are doing, namely the humans that are carrying out these operations. Please intervene and start making accountability move forward. And it's his will, but we're asking for this. We're living through this crap. We need accountability and justice. Otherwise, there's no motivation or incentive to continue with these elections because, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. We need everything changed before we even think about voting in November. I mean, I think last time we talked about this too, Eddie. I don't say this in a negative sense or from a pessimistic view, but I do not care at all about the midterms. I care about what's happening tonight. We've got criminals still running around. We've got these voting machines that we know are criminal as well. Why aren't we doing something? And I do believe it will happen, but I want to talk about things that are happening now. I don't care at all about the midterms. I don't care truly at all. We need things fixed immediately. We need arrest immediately.
If you do what's right now, tomorrow takes care of itself anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for certain. I just think that right now what we're witnessing, and I mean, Maurice and I have seen this up close without saying too much, but there are people who will literally they don't care about that. They just care about the clicks, the follows, the likes, the fame, getting next to or getting in the proximity of power, that sort of thing. I mean, they don't personally, a lot of them like to dub themselves patriots, and they're not. They're full of shit. They don't really fight for anything except for the next follow, how many people viewed their last post, and it's not about what's true, what's good, what's right. And all too often, what is good, what is true, and what's right gets attacked. And some of the times, it's the people that you respect the absolute most that will surprise you the most by going the opposite route. Look how many people are attacking Thomas Massey right now. I mean, I just, got a tremendous amount of respect for people like, Cat Turd and others, but I just seen a retweet where like, come on, we can do this. And he's like, fight for the guy that's, taking all the Israeli PAC money, that over $1 million. Fight for the guy who's fighting for the transgender rights. Fight for the guy and here's Massey with an A+ rating as a conservative who's never veered, never swayed off track. He's been consistently conservative, consistently constitutional, but Trump called him a traitor one time, and that's all it takes. Everybody, this is why I took off my red hat, and I won't put it back on. Because even if I support him, I don't want to support him on that level. Well, I don't want to support him like a disciple.
Yeah, I feel like we did our jobs as far as keeping Kamala Harris out of there and getting him into office. And now it's our job to hold him accountable to what he said he was going to do. And that doesn't mean being a cheerleader at every single turn or every sentence he says. It does not mean that you have to, just cheerlead for him every single time. And like I voted for 4 years of Trump. I say this all the time. It's like I don't like what he's done lately as far as the Iran war, as far as the Epstein files, all of that. But I know that like there's 4 years of this, and we're supposed to get some radical change within that time. And I feel like I'm starting to see glimpses of things beginning to happen, which is good. The Republicans basically secured the midterms just through procedure, which is probably the only way that they could have come out on top in the midterms because of the
got
of
that
the way
right, because I had no hope.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I might not even turn out for the midterms, but it almost seems like it almost seems like they have that on lock now, and then whatever they have plans coming up should actually start happening. At least
break that down a little bit, Maurice. When you say by procedure, what do you mean exactly?
Well, they basically overturned a lot of the all black the
Hold up, you can't
gerrymandering
say
done by
black.
the Democrats.
Go ahead, sorry.
The gerrymandering done by the Democrats over the past several years, where they've basically carved out special portions of black communities that they know that they have their vote secured, and so it almost didn't matter who was running. They could just kind of put anybody they wanted to, any puppet they wanted to in there, and then they would have more Democrat representatives. Well, since the Supreme Court said that that was racist and you can't do that, the Democrats have now lost a ton of seats because their previously gerrymandered districts are now reverting to more representative areas. Not just a black community that the Democrats have taken for granted for the last 60 years. While
Battered wife syndrome in the political arena. Yeah, here's the thing. I got contacted, and I'll let both you guys know this. I was going to make a post and a whole story about this later anyway, but I was contacted by Theotis Daniel yesterday. We had like a 2-hour conversation. Turns out there's a guy, Ronald Dwight. Remember they were trying to get Theotis to drop out of the District 18 race. So the GOP in Texas promised him House 147 to be the nominee, and they would back him. He is the nominee. So we paid no attention, but we didn't see the sleight of hand. And this is what I mean. They slid this guy in there. I think his name's Ronald Dwight. You can look him up. But this guy, he literally believes. Now, he's the Republican nominee. He literally calls himself the last prophet. He believes he is the last prophet to bring in the end times. He's been to prison 4 times over 25 years. Says any girl over 21 and he's 60, and 17 to 21 is his dating range. And any girl older than that is too old. He owes a ton of money to the state, back child support. But yes, he believes he is divinely appointed and he is the one to come after Christ, like Timu Jesus. Right? I can't make this up. I can't make this up. I verified everything.
How do we weed those people out? I mean, how do we I understand, like, going into a room. Okay, I'll give you an example. All right. So 2 weeks ago, my wife and I went down to Arizona to visit our father-in-law. He was turning 70
drove
years
right
old.
past me.
Yeah, probably. Well, we flew there. Okay. But he lives in like a retired community in like a golf resort, and all of his concerns were like football and like HOA concerns, and it was
sounds like
my
the
mind.
life, dude.
Dude, I was like, this doesn't feel real. Like none of it's like everything he has in that entire place. Like there's fake grass. They don't have grass.
It's like the Stepford Wives, but for old people. Like,
yeah, there's no real plants. There's like everything's simulated. And I was like, I am never going to have this life because, well, for one, like I've already woken up. And so like there's no way for me to just go and live that life. Even if I was at a retiring age and I had a bunch of money, it's like, I couldn't do that. There's just no way.
It's like that scene in the Truman Show where he sits there and he goes, Buggy, Beetle, and he's just like, everything's just happening the same way every day, all the time. Dude, everything looks
weird,
the same.
Man, it was so weird. He was talking about how his neighbor has like steel plants out front, and like that's not allowed. You're not supposed to have steel plants. And I was like, wow, that's some intense drama. You got.
We draw the line at steel. You went past aluminum.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that are like that, right? But how do we keep the people like you were mentioning, Eddie? I already forgot his name. The last prophet guy. How do we?
I think it's Ronald Dwight.
I want to know what you think.
Pull him up,
how do we keep those people kind of out and like, all right, we do have some shit to clean up, but you're a little out there.
Well, here's the thing. I got into an altercation with Dan Wilson and Cindy Spiegel. Dan Wilson is the GOP chair for Texas as a whole. Cindy Spiegel is the District 18 GOP chair. And they were pulling some shenanigans. And I found out that they misappropriated $300,000 in funds and that they withheld resources from Theotis while he was running, didn't list him in the debates, didn't list him in the poll, basically made it look like him and Carter Page, and everyone knows who Carter Page is. He was the guy that they used as the end to start spying on Trump about the Russia stuff, who was also in the same race. But they wanted to get a shill in there. She had a Democrat working directly for her, but she's the GOP chair. And she's not the only one. Jolanda Jones, the guy who's working on her campaign, is a GOP chair in Texas working for a Democrat. You can't make this up. So did a little digging, and I found out, and this is, everybody can do the same research I did. The newest, maybe not the newest, I think it's just the most obvious now, and they're saying it out loud. And I think James O'Keefe exposed it when they saw them taking his signatures and paying them money to, register to vote. They were registering people to vote, and they're telling Democrats to go be Republican, sign up as a Republican, so we can inundate their party and we can take over. And then these chairs that are in the local offices are choosing the obvious loser. Like, this guy's not going to win, right? But he makes the entire party look stupid. I mean, my God, I hope he doesn't win. And that's how bad he is, that I hope the Democrat wins. That's because he's the last prophet. And this is the stupidity.
Could you imagine the amount of attention he would get? Like, look, this is what the Republican Party has become.
Yeah, he comes out, on the podium. He's got a robe on. This is not. So I did. I sent a very strongly worded email and whatnot to the RNC with snapshots of his posts and his name and his background, and like, guys, pull this nomination now, like, before it's too late. Like, do something quick. Like, give it to the lady who got 45% of the vote. I don't know if that's, I mean, the RNC is a good old boy club. They can take the nomination away. It's not like they're breaking some constitutional law. The RNC is the RNC. They're self-governed. So they can remove his nomination. But these are the tricks that are being played.
Yeah, it's so insane. Maurice, you asked, what can we do? I've got 2 solutions in 4 words. Military tribunals and exorcisms.
Oh my!
I think that's where we're at, honestly. I mean, yes, there's political things and worldly things we can do, but that's where it comes down to is we need to exorcise the demons out of our government first and foremost. I mean, first and foremost out of our world, so they don't even appear in government. But remove the criminals, remove the Satanists. And we need to move towards military tribunals because that's.
So we need a new government.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, people like Nick.
We're
Shirley,
beyond the opportunity to do that, though.
Well,
like by force.
Well, unless we convince enough people to do it. But
did you see how they took Venezuela? It was 20 soldiers against hundreds of Venezuelans, and they made them sit down, bleed out of their nose, take a dump in their drawers, and they strolled past them, took their president, and walked out. There's no chance,
honestly,
of winning
Ridge,
a ground fight.
Waco, Ruby Ridge, all those places would play out so differently today. Like before, there was some outrage over it, but nowadays it almost seems like you'll just disappear. Like all the scientists that have been just disappearing.
That's nuts, isn't it?
Years.
And if they're not done, now it's up to 12.
Yeah, no, they're finding more and more all the time. It's insane. They're like, oh, years ago this scientist disappeared who was working in the same field. Like, what is actually going on? Yeah, I know that you're probably right, Eddie, with that. With air.
I mean, Biden said it. Like, what are you guys talking about? We got F-15s. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're not gonna go head on against them. What you have to do is basically, and it's kind of working because the youngest generation, Gen Z, has reversed the trend among these past several generations where Christianity has declined among each generation, it's finally made an uptick. It's turned around. It's now more of Gen Z than more of millennials believe in Christianity, and I think that's probably step one to actually turning this ship around. Because if you don't have...
back up. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. Did you just say leaving Christianity?
No, they're believing.
Oh, believing. Okay.
Yeah,
the bug.
believing.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Well, because one of the main ways that they've attacked us is not just through food, like Lance's specialty here, but it's been the attack of the nuclear family. And I want you to just kind of take a peek at this, because I shared this the other day. And look at the way the nuclear family has been destroyed. Americans in 1975, 91% of women were married by age 30. And 81% of men. Now, men are always going to be a little bit lower because obviously they peak at a little bit later of an age. But if you can see, I mean, that once they removed God from the institution of marriage, you could see it just completely got destroyed. And then you have the birth control pill that came along, and then you had abortions become way more popular, and then they incentivized women to divorce their husbands by giving them financial benefits. And so it went from 91%. So
they introduced what? Irreconcilable differences, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. 25%. Let's see. How do you correlate God with this chart? Because in 1962, the Supreme Court decided to remove God from all institutions, governmental institutions, and that includes marriage in the state. So you are not, when you get married, you are not making a covenant with God between a man and a woman. It now becomes
contract.
It becomes a contract that is about numbers, and it's about the tax benefits and this and that. It's not otherworldly. You're not making a commitment beyond yourself. It just becomes a business contract. And when you look at it like that, and then you add in the temptations of limited repercussions with the birth control pill, and then in 2010, you have the advent of social media, where that brings in the whole Insta-floozies idea, and then porn becomes rampant, and it just like the younger men, I don't even know how they're going to make it through, trying to find a good unsullied woman. It's going to be a little tough. But in all reality, they removed God from all institutions, and then they went after the nuclear family, and that weakened everybody. It made prices go up, because then women got into the workforce, and then they got to become a new tax bracket for the government, and then everything became more expensive,
and then wages stagnated, so that you needed two people to work instead of one, which was that was one of the results of feminism. And I said it. But you're 100% right. The problem is getting people to actually see that without them feeling like you insulted them. From the female perspective, right? And it's the same. Women shouldn't be preachers, and
you're getting a little fuzzy.
Oh, I was saying it's when you say it like that. The hard thing I think it is for the females is for them to accept it for what it actually is, at face value, what you said, instead of getting insulted by what you said. Right?
Yeah.
The feminist movement has gone too far, and
we allowed it. I blamed the feminist movement on men for being too weak and allowing it to happen. In all reality, like, they went along with it, they championed it. Now you have, just a bunch. Okay. If a woman's supposed to be a helper, right? Like, my wife she's my God-given helper, okay? It's my duty and my responsibility to lead her and protect her. But men in the past 50 years haven't been worthy of following. And so because in a lot of ways, they've bought into the same kind of goy slop that our entire society has, and they've just gone down that path. And like, why would women follow an irresponsible deadbeat that's gonna leave him high and dry? And
well, he knows how to play PS4 or 5 or whatever's out right now pretty good.
I think we're on 5.
Yeah, okay. Shows you how much I play anything like that. But I digress. You're 100% right. You're 1,000% right. The thing is, though, is you watch some of those podcasts where I think they do deal with these subjects a little more, where they have these round tables and they bring in the strippers and the OnlyFans girls, and they essentially prove your point. I mean, over and over and over again. But the problem is how do you convince people that didn't we just see an uptick in like the trad wife movement? Didn't it kind of start to make its like a revival? Like, weren't there girls kind of pushing that, women I should say, actually pushing that, going down that road, trying to make it a thing again?
I believe so. That was a big TikTok thing. Hey, this thing just popped up on my notifications here. Although it's 39 minutes old, but Tulsi Gabbard, they raided the CIA office for JFK assassination, MK Ultra related documents that was set to declassify. What?
Well, John Carrical talked about those documents, the missing documents from Operation Zipper, on multiple podcasts, and he said there are tons of missing documents relating to a certain intelligence apparatus, not of America, that was involved, and that they didn't want that particular intelligence apparatus named in the release of the JFK files.
What if it starts with an M?
It starts with an M, buddy. Like most of all of the things that have happened since 1940, whatever.
Hey, so I got a question for you, Lance. Do you ever deal with SSRIs and like, because you're all like MK Ultra, right? Was the experimental time where they used psychedelic drugs to take over people? Well, it's been theorized that SSRIs are not meant to actually cure anybody, but they're meant to dull the senses and make them more prone to something like MK Ultra programming. And with your with the way that do you ever address those in any of the work that you do, or what do you think about them?
Yeah. Thanks, Maurice. They're terrible to begin with. The situation that happened with my father in 2008 when he took his life, he was on an SSRI, and I won't go into that whole story again, but the very short of it is he was never on any antidepressants, was put on one, up and down a little bit, switched up and down. They do the same damn thing. They keep switching you until you get better or don't respond. And then 5-6 months in, after it was like 4 or 5 times, which is a lot in that short amount of time, he took his life. And he wasn't that kind of person. He was a happy person, like had challenges like most people, we weren't wealthy growing up, so to speak. We were just average middle America. Grew up in Iowa. He was a farmer, so he wasn't loaded, but just, living an average life, so to speak. And like he never used anything like that, didn't do drugs, didn't drink. And so we got firsthand witness and up close and personal as to exactly what you just said on how they dull the senses. They completely take your mind out of it. Like, we could see hindsight, of course, but even like going back to some of those times, like we'd be talking to him and asking him questions and looking him in the eyes, and he's there, but he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the most like chilling, like quite literally, and just like weird thing, because it was like he was there, but he wasn't.
I mean, my own experience, and I'll speak from personal experience, as a kid and going through depression and that sort of thing at a young age, not knowing any of these things, I was put on a multitude of a plethora of different, just like you said. And all I felt was just nothing, right? I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I wasn't anything. I mean, but you could damn sure get mad. That's the one thing about them. But yeah, you tend not to feel the same things that you would feel once you act out on that anger, the guilt and the shame that might come along with, an action that is not becoming of who you actually are. And I had people around me tell me, and if I didn't have that trust in the individual who came to me and to address the situation, and I didn't take what he said on faith and just listen to what I thought, I would have continued to take that medication. But I've come to the conclusion since that whatever I'm feeling, that's just what I'm going through. I have to feel it. There's a reason I'm feeling it. And that's, you have to work those things out. As men, we all too often have a problem being vulnerable or finding the ability to trust other men with our issues. And so a lot of times men repress their emotions. They don't deal with the things they're going through because they feel like it makes them look weak. In most cases, which was,
does, so
yeah. You're a fag.
Maybe you are being
but
a
it's
little
true.
Bitch. Toughen up.
Banana pancakes. What's wrong? You're a fag. That's Bill Burr, dude. That was one of my favorite skits from Bill Burr.
Bill Burr was great, man.
He was awesome. He was awesome. I had a question for you, just a little bit. Did guys see the Kevin Hart roast yesterday? Any pieces of it?
No, but I heard about it.
This is demonic. I can't see it any other damn way but demonic, because they floated this stuff out here right in our faces and expected us to laugh about it. Chelsea Handler was a very close, good friend of Jeffrey Epstein. After he was convicted, went to dinner with him, all these things. I've been saying this for years. But then Shane McGillis gets on stage and does this.
Chelsea is a Zionist. I'm not saying that's good or bad. Speaking of dead kids, she's a big fan of abortions. Chelsea's been scraped more times than the grill at Benihana. Speaking of tossing tiny shrimp into a child's mouth, Chelsea Handler went to dinner at Jeffrey Epstein's house in 2010. It's just a fun one. You can look it up. There's articles. It wasn't like a big party. There was like 7 people there. And it was like Prince Andrew and Woody Allen were there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea Handler.
And so that's what I mean. Like that we're supposed to find that in any way entertaining when it was true. It's literally true. And then after he says these things, he goes and sits down on the bench next to Chelsea. It's all a joke. It's a joke that kids got raped and tortured and all these terrible things happen. And for those of you who don't know, the words tiny shrimp in the Epstein files actually is code, like pizza is. So none of that shit that he just said was funny. And it's like some sad satanic ritual to get up there and flaunt it in our faces and say it and make it into entertainment. It's disgusting.
Most people on the show, Kevin, Chelsea, Pete, Brady, are all WME clients. Ari Emanuel, the man who had a dead model loaned out to Epstein.
Okay, clue me in. What's WME?
Ari Emanuel, whatever company he runs, I'm assuming. So it's all interconnected, but okay. I wouldn't. Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate to you here, Eddie.
Oh man, I didn't expect this. All right, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm not necessarily saying that you're wrong, but the jester is the only one who can say the truth, and so I don't believe that Shane Gillis is part of that club, right? I mean, he's around it, he's somewhat near it, but I don't think that he was part of that club. I don't think he participated in any of those events, but so it almost seems like he's throwing a lot of that stuff out there, and then I don't know what would necessarily come of it, but you know, in Hollywood there was always like secrets that were kind of kept, but everybody knew them. You know, and Shane seems to be saying the quiet part out loud. So, do you think that that's a possibility that he's just kind of airing out their dirty laundry a little bit,
like Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes a few years back?
Yeah.
But he went and sat next to her on the dais there.
I mean, he's. Host.
Here's the thing. You know what happened at CPAC? I couldn't sit down. I couldn't stay. Couldn't do it. I had to leave. I just don't understand people that don't act out on the things that they believe. Or even why be cryptic about it? Is your career more important than the? You know, I don't know. I argue with myself. I understand what you're saying, but it's very hard for me to just not be locked in one way all the way, 100%, both feet, no turning back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that almost makes your game plan too well known, and then people to avoid you because of it. True enough,
and that has definitely worked against me. But it's just something in me that says, you know what, I'm compromising with my beliefs if I'm not just 100% who I am at all times.
What do you think of that, Lance? Think it was demonic ritual or the jester saying the quiet part out loud?
Yeah, I think Shane Gillis, I don't think he's part of their club. At least I hope and pray he's not. I think he was kind of doing the Ricky, however you pronounce his last name. Gervais. That kind of thing again too, and exposing them. I heard from a friend today. I didn't watch that, but he was saying the same stuff, how demonic the whole thing was in terms of them kind of laughing about the sick stuff. And he was more talking about Chelsea Handler and Kevin Hart, and how I think Kevin Hart said at some point during that he was going to say something or tell a joke or something, and he was wanting to say, like, the essence of what he was going to say was, we all need to be on the same page. But what he actually said, and just very publicly, was, we all need to be on the same possession, or we all need to be under the same possession. My friend just told me this a couple hours ago, and
let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, so he said it was really sick because they were doing all the Pizzagate. Sorry, I know you're on YouTube. The pizza stuff.
You can say Pizzagate.
I don't know if YouTube. I don't want you guys getting
no. We just can't give medical advice. That's all.
Yeah, pizza stuff and those code words. You know, all of that. But I think what that is, my view on it, is that it is exposure time, and they're doing this again, so we all look at that and look to see and look at evil straight in the eyes, because that is, again, I don't think it's Shane, but I think what he is exposing is straight evil, and it's good that he's doing that. And we need to look at how these Satanists have operated, which is they do this very openly in our faces, and they have us laugh with these satanic jokes, you know, and have us go along and just normalize and get us numb to, you know, the stuff with children and, you know, all the terrible things. So I think ultimately it's good that happened, because it's, I think, going to expose more people. And I think they're teeing it up for all of us to have a good look at this again and go, yep, all of these sick people, they're still doing it. And these are their code words. This is how they still are doing all this stuff in the open, you know, and exposure time.
Now I can't find that
clip.
Next
Are going to be really interesting, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys, either of you, catch the Shannon Sharp interview with Cat Williams, where he was kind of going into the darker side of Hollywood and exposing some of the
that was like one of the
gay rituals and the payoffs, because that's what was
like
addressed.
One of the most watched podcasts of all time. There's like hundreds of millions of views on that.
It's not. People are still watching it again because there's like new clues in there all the time that you didn't catch before.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things that he said, when you look back at like this was the result of this person doing this, and it was like, he's right, that did happen. And so the question then becomes, did he start from the end and then work backwards to make it look real, or was he telling the truth?
I mean, it seems like Cat Williams is telling the truth. It seems like he
That's
was just exposing a lot of what was going on, which is surprising because he's still with us, as far as I know. So I don't know how he got away with exposing all that. Maybe they all kind of knew that it was coming to an end, or they all kind of had that feeling. Oh shoot.
I got one more for you. Verifiable, crazy news. And I'll get both of your takes on this.
Okay, I can hear you guys again.
Okay. So one more crazy piece of news that was just made public day before yesterday. I think I texted it to you, Maurice, in a phone conversation. But Tyler Robinson going to the Charlie Kirk assassination. Tyler Robinson was arrested on September the 12th publicly. That was what we were told. They were looking for him on the 11th. The assassination happened on the 10th. He confessed to the assassination supposedly on the 12th on Discord in a post that he made on Discord. This is the public information that we all received. Turns out he was arrested on the 11th. He was already in custody when they did the news conference. So that couldn't have been him posting on Discord. And I've only heard very few people talk about this in podcasts. Very few people are bringing up this information. And it's really earth-shattering. I mean, we had one of the most, the biggest political commentators, faith-based missionary, whatever. I mean, Charlie has a ton of titles that you can apply to him. And a lot of people are questioning Erica and her resolve and just wanting to get the trial over quick versus find out the truth. In a lot of strange ways that she's acted in the wake of Charlie Kirk, and now finding out that she was having a very flirtatious conversation with a 15-year-old on Instagram after she won the Miss Arizona pageant, in which case the little girl responded, and the Instagram thread is still up, so it's verifiable. It's there.
Who are you talking about?
Erica Kirk.
I haven't heard any of that.
Oh, I'll send you the whole video. And the thread is still up that I'm talking about. You can go look at it on Instagram.
To be honest, I've just been avoiding a lot of that stuff because of how much information is bunk, and like the overwhelming amount of information that comes out. I as of late, I just haven't had the time or ability to sift through it properly, and so I've just been like outside of it.
I think this is probably the first time in which that I've gone into it this deep, only because I actually went to the Instagram post and looked at it myself. And the people that are talking about the arrest and the date that it actually happened versus when the Discord post was put out by Tyler Robinson. And then I heard people say, well, that's not true because you can schedule Discord posts. You can't. You can't. So there's a lot. There are big questions that I think people need to be answered. But I mean, Lance, obviously you know who Charlie Kirk is. You know who Erica Kirk is. In the wake of that happening, do you think that it's normal or that people could be overreacting by her, to her reaction of saying, I want to get through this trial fast, just get it over with and convict him, versus I want to know what happened to my husband. I want to know every detail. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I have endless questions around Erica's involvement in TPUSA and all sorts of activities around the whole thing with the assassination. If the official story played out where, I'll just say, I think that we're going to learn information where she may have known things were coming or going to happen, or may be involved in different ways. I personally don't buy any of the crying. It's all fake tears. I don't buy any of the stuff that's being put out. I think most of it's BS, to be honest. I think a person who is actually mourning does not do most of that stuff. I'm not saying every little thing, but I'd say most of that's not actually how someone who's actually mourning for their husband who is just whacked in public. I don't think that a lot of that stuff would be happening. So I mean, I think that we're going to learn about some pretty sick things with occultism and the rituals and all the stuff. She's been in movies, and her former
CIA document or like CIA training videos.
Yes,
that's the weirdest one to me. It's like, wait, what?
I didn't hear this one. Somebody break this one down for me.
Yeah. Maurice, I'll share one thing and then please go into that. One thing that kind of made it even more real for me was if you look up her former boyfriend, who he's still on Instagram, and the post is out there too. He's got a tattoo under his lip, and he's pulling it down like that on the post, and the tattoo says pizza on there.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and just like her whole story is never added up. I mean, because like people have picked it apart. She's got multiple different paths. The music video with the occultism and the symbolism, forecasting that 9/11 shooting, or 9/12, whatever, 9/10.
9/10. Yeah.
I'm mixing up the dates here. But yeah, you guys know what I'm saying. There's a lot of predictive programming involved in things that she's been involved with.
Well, her mother's got some very wild entanglements into other governments in the defense industry, and that's real. I mean, that's verifiable.
Yeah.
And that's where the Camp Huachuca connection comes in, because that's where her mom worked. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I hear enough to give me questions, not answers.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think bothers me the most about it is that no one seems to be trying to get the answers. They're just trying to make us believe the first thing they said.
Yeah.
And that's the bothersome part.
Yeah, I agree. I think the fact that she's trying to push it along, that's just another tell in this thing. Just given how everything's played out. If it was a genuine mourning and like we could see it was just obvious the whole time, I could understand that rationale, but it's not been like that.
No, if you would have shown me a video of Tyler Robinson taking the shot, I'll apologize and take everything back and all my questions, and I'll be fine. But they could have did that if they just rewound that PTZ video of him jumping off that roof. Just rewind that video 59 seconds. Show us him sitting in a prone position taking the shot. It's the same view. But you want to show us him jumping off the roof, and you've never shown us a single picture of him with a firearm.
All right, this is just a video that I could pull it up really quick because I remember it being on Joe Rogan. I think this is it.
Risk analysis. They hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
Well, there are 18 critical infrastructures.
Why is it so sped up?
So we can hear it faster. You got it turned up?
She's doing a CIA informational video.
Weird.
What?
Perhaps. Or, but even so, you're doing an acting gig for the CIA. Who calls you for that?
Yeah.
You ever get one of those calls?
No.
No, I never got one of those calls.
My agent never hit me with that one.
Yeah. It's odd. Well, there's a lot of people that think that she was his handler. She was Charlie Kirk's handler. But of course, there's a lot of people that think I have handlers.
Yeah. Well, you got about 9 Navy SEALs out there.
They're not him. They're my friends.
Okay. Well, that sucks. I was hoping I could pull it up. But yeah, she was in like CIA training videos.
Like real ones?
Yes.
And her mom worked deep state government. This is all. Yeah.
All she did, like I, for the longest time, I really tried to like think, okay, we need to give her some grace, and like
I said the same thing.
But with all this stuff that's been adding up, and especially with her past, it's like you can't just ignore that, you know? I mean, spouses kill each other all the time. It's not like, you know, especially when there's a bunch of money involved. I mean, it's usually the number one suspect is the spouse.
Do you think it's money though, or do you think that Israel had a 24% approval rating and he stopped being in the Zionist movement and they approached him with a significant amount of money 2 weeks before and he told them no? And yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I think you're onto something there, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, if I offered you a significant amount of money to do something and you told me to F off and then 2 weeks later you were, you know, not with us anymore, wouldn't I be a suspect?
I'd hope so.
I mean, just saying.
Oh, and then but you can't let go of this fact though, is that all the donors that he turned down were quickly let in by Erica afterwards.
Yep. And Ben Shapiro paid his way onto the AmFest stage. And $1 million donation got him on stage just so he could be there to bash Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And I mean, we knew.
I don't like Candace.
I know you don't like Candace. I don't like or dislike anybody in particular.
That woman. It's too much. All right. Like I like women.
You don't like her delivery.
I like women that are feminine. I like women that are like normal women, not this harpy loudmouth boss.
Dude, I bet you she can make a sandwich that will blow your socks off.
Yeah, but she'd be yelling at me the whole time while she's doing it. Yeah, there's just no way. I just can't stand her. That's like it's a personality thing, you know. She like I don't like the way she delivers it. I just she's too much for me.
So it's what drives most people crazy, and I think that's the most criticism I hear about the Candace thing over and over again from people, is that she slow drips information just to make you watch the next episode, right? Which is a great marketing technique for a typical podcast, but when you're podcasting about your dead buddy,
yeah, maybe take it more seriously.
It is kind of a little like it's a little distasteful to do it that way. But there was, I'll be honest, you know, I've followed it from the beginning. I followed all the stuff she said about Mikey McCoy, Rob McCoy, about the Calvary Church, and I verified all those data points, and they were all right. Even when they tried to say the Egyptian plane thing was a farce and all that, it turned out that wasn't true. And the FBI having the address right there next to the building in the same place where in Delaware, all that shit was 100% true. So what I tell people consistently,
true, but
no, I mean the address was true, and the plane was there wherever 70% of the time. If you look at Charlie Kirk's the event at UVU, plane transponders are publicly available. You can track them. There was a spy plane that literally flew in circles over that event, over and over and over again for like a half hour.
Oh, well. Yeah, well, you know, like I said, I've been avoiding a lot of this stuff, but I'll have to deep dive.
Well, I had Blake Bednar's on. I interviewed him, and Blake is probably the one that's probably the most versed in all of this, who's paid all the money to get all the original Sims cards and the original videos, so he wasn't downloading Twitter videos and trying to, you know, what somebody could have manipulated, and he went all in.
Oh, yeah.
And he did the legwork, and that's why I know about the plane and all that kind of stuff, because he was blowing me away with the information that he was showing me while we were doing the podcast. I didn't know you could track planes and where they flew and what their normal flight route was and all that kind of stuff. And he was showing like over and over again how this damn plane was doing this loop. And then they said there were no drones that day, and there are several visible drones in the crowd. There are a lot of questions. No answers, tons of questions. But I tell you what, when they said that the bullet didn't match the ballistics, where the angle of the shot couldn't have been made unless it went through Charlie's face, it's hit his C2 vertebrae. I mean, these are all things that I think most good defense attorneys are enough to get just about anybody off of a case.
Yeah, the case itself is going to be really, really interesting. It's going to be like I'm actually really looking forward to it to kind of see what they ram through as the idea of what actually happened. So, or maybe it'll be something that just completely blows us all away.
I think they'll convict, but I think he'll win on the appeal when no one's looking.
Oh, everybody would be looking though.
Yeah, not if they don't publicize the appeal.
Well, Lance, I don't want to keep you too long, and I'm getting tired anyhow. But let everybody know where they can find you.
Thanks, Maurice. I'll come back to that real quick. I want to say one last thing on this little topic here. This isn't to pick on Erica per se. It's more of just the whole cabal system as a whole. I think it's possible it could be going on in the situation with Erica. But definitely we know that these people, they're fanatical with their bloodlines and their rituals and the occultism like we've talked about. And what I personally think is going on is that some of these marriages are kind of set beforehand. I think they're using like really, really sick like black magic and sort of maybe even some like looking glass technology that they used to have, the cabal.
Oh, Project
sort of
Looking
like
Glass.
Yeah, sort of like either literally or metaphorically in some way or ritually something, like kind of look into the future and see who are the people who are going to be the movers and shakers. And in this situation, someone like Charlie, okay, well, we need to set up and we need to honeypot trap him and get someone that's closely aligned to him, and infiltrate basically. And they do this for sure. They're fanatical with this sort of stuff and the way they do things with spies and all that sort of stuff. But I think that this is where it is because it's so dark and sick, all of the things with it, none of it adds up. Tyler is absolutely the scapegoat. He didn't, I don't think, do anything. And I think he was just kind of used for the whole thing. But the whole point of what I'm sharing is I think we're going to learn that it's going to go very deep, dark, and sick in terms of their ritualism, their occultism, how they set things up like this to entrap people and ritually murder people, things like that. So I pray she's not involved in it. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt right now, but I don't think that's the case. I think we're going to see it all come out. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on,
man.
yes, absolutely. I'm on X, on other socials as well, but mainly on X, and just trying to spread truth and talk about truth and watching everything play out.
Well, guys, it was a great episode. I love that kind of conversation. Just to let you know, I know Tim Burchett is head of the UAP disclosure project that Trump just okayed. I just spoke with his media request. I spoke to his people. He's willing to come on and talk to us about it. We're just trying to line up that time right now. So look forward to that. That's
awesome.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. So I have tons of questions. And the one thing about this guy, Rep. Tim Burchett, is he's always been extremely honest. I mean, he gave us disclosure, 7-8 months ago, Maurice? Something like that. He had no problem saying
he's always
stuff.
fun to talk to, man. He's a lot of fun. I like that guy.
Yep.
That's awesome, you guys. I'll be watching that when he comes on. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He seems like one of the only real ones.
Yeah. There are very few. I mean, you can count on less than one hand how many there are. But yeah. He's an interesting one. I'd love to have Massey on. I want to have Dan Bilzerian on. I want to talk to Dan Bilzerian very, very badly. Guys, if you haven't watched the episode I put out the other day, like I said in the intro to that thing, is probably the most impactful podcast I ever did. I pre-recorded it because there was just a ton of information in there. So I figured it would be the one podcast, if ever I could get canceled, that would be the one that did it. Go watch it. I guarantee you, it's talking about the deception of Christian Zionism. and I brought the receipts. But as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground, because evil never retreats willingly. It must be beaten back. Guys, have a great day. Stay safe and stay awake.
Thank you, Eddie.
Not
Thanks,
not
Maurice.
Thanks for coming.
Have a great
Lance.
one, guys. See ya.
Thank you, guys.
Self-tension, midnight gears hum low. Guitars bend, pads breathing the slow.